Welcome to this week's edition of Black Authors Matter TV, where we interview the latest movers and shakers in the African American literary community. You'll meet some old friends, discover new ones, and stay abreast of the latest book developments around the country and even the world. So sit back and relax for the next 2 hours with Black Authors Matter TV co-hosts Gwen Richardson and Dr. Rhonda Lawson.
Good evening and welcome to the latest episode of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm your host for tonight, Gwen Richardson, and my co-host, Dr. Rhonda, is running late with meetings at work, and she will be on a little bit later. She already contacted me about that. So we have an amazing lineup tonight of really, really great guests. And a couple of housekeeping notes. The National Black Book Festival registration is ongoing. The early bird deadline is March 31st, the end of this month. So if you want to register, the best time to do it is before or by March 31st. We're actually over 50% capacity, so the registrations are coming in pretty quickly. And we normally sell out by early to midsummer, but it could be even earlier this year. So if you want to attend, please sign up. If you want to attend as a vendor, author vendor, or any kind of vendor. Also, our Black Authors Matter TV award show is coming up, and the voting process starts first. So all the people that have been on the show in the last 12 months are included in the first round of voting, for those of you who have watched the show and seen our award show. So voting starts Monday, March 16th. And is it March 16th? Yeah, Monday is March 16th. And it goes for a couple of weeks. I forgot the ending date. But then we announced the finalists, the first round of finalists on the show, the first show in April. So anyway, that's it for now. And we're going to bring on our first guest. She is not a stranger to the show, but she hasn't been on for a couple of years, but she's been steadily writing, and she is on tour right now. I have my own personal copy of her book, Keeper of Lost Children. So welcome back to Black Authors Matter TV, Sadeqa Johnson.
Hi there. So good to see you.
Same here. And you've been really busy writing and touring.
Yeah,
And
it's been crazy.
yeah, this book came out roughly a month ago, right?
Today is my 1 month anniversary.
Okay. And I've been seeing your pictures on Instagram and Facebook of the events that you've been doing, very well attended events. And I think a couple of them have been in churches.
Yes, which is amazing because that was the only space that could hold the crowd, was for me to have it at a few churches. So that's been really I don't know, it's just been such a blessing.
So where have you been with the book in terms of the tour, the cities?
I've been everywhere. I started on the East Coast. I did Philly, New Jersey, New York, Virginia. I live in Richmond, Virginia, which is one
Right.
of the church pictures that you saw, which was my opening. There were nearly 500 people at my opening event in Richmond, which was amazing.
Right.
Then I
Well,
went to North Carolina.
you're a hometown talent, so that's
Yeah,
good
it's
that you
it's
got the hometown support.
and I've only lived here 11 years. So like I'm an honorary hometown girl, but I guess I've been here enough to be a hometown girl.
Right. Where are you from originally?
Originally from Philadelphia.
Oh, okay. All right. So I knew you were in Virginia now, and I'm from Newport News. I think we talked about that when you were on
Yes,
last time. So
yes.
I'm very familiar with Richmond. I didn't spend a lot of time in Richmond, but I always, well, we used to have to go through Richmond to get to DC. So when I was in college in DC. So my drive would always take me through Richmond. But then they built the workaround. So
Yes.
you don't have to go. So that's been years ago. But you used to have to drive through Richmond to
Okay.
get
Okay.
anywhere through the city. And so you've been to Richmond, you've been to North Carolina. You said what did you?
Yeah, I was in a couple of cities in North Carolina, South Carolina, Atlanta, which they always show up in such a big way. And then last week I was in Houston and St. Louis and Cleveland and Indianapolis and Detroit,
Wow,
Chicago. Yes. And I just got
wow.
back from Toronto. I was in Canada over the weekend. I did an event in Toronto with my Canadian publisher. So I literally just got home last night and I leave on Thursday to go to New Orleans for the New Orleans Book Festival.
Oh, wow. So do you have small children at home?
Not anymore, thank goodness, because
Okay, because I was gonna say
my
that's
husband
a
will be
lot.
looking for a new wife if I
Yeah,
did.
that's a lot to put on, a man. They're not built for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. But no, my youngest is a senior in high school. So this is my
Okay.
oldest two are in college. So this is sort of the perfect time for me to have a career awakening, a blossoming, because the kids are growing up.
Okay. So are you writing full time now?
I am, yes, I write full time.
Well, good for you. Good for you. And your books are always so you pick a topic, you pick an emotional topic,
Mm.
something that people can really like clutch the pearls about. And then your character development is really, really good. Now I'm trying to remember. I know I read Yellow Wife. That was the
Mhm.
first book of yours I read. And I read The House of Eve. So do you have another book?
So those are my historical. So my last three are historical: Yellow Wife, The House of Eve, and Keeper of Lost Children.
Okay.
Prior to switching to historical, I had contemporary fiction, Second House from the Corner, and then there was me and Love in a Carry-On Bag. So those were sort of my contemporary suburban drama novels. And then these
Okay.
last three have been my historicals.
Okay. And see, historical fiction is my favorite genre. So I found you when you switched. The Yellow Wife is just an amazing book, and The House of Eve. They were both amazing books. And I still think the cover on The Yellow Wife is one of the best covers.
Thank you. I
It's,
hear that a lot.
it's an amazing looking cover because it's the cover is a metaphor, but it's also a gorgeous dress that she's wearing. So that's really what made it. I mean, it's an eye-catching cover. Somebody would
Mhm.
buy that book just for the cover. And
Yeah,
you can't say that about a lot of books. There's
yeah.
some just have regular covers. The Yellow Wife was amazing. So
Oh,
so
thank
yeah, I read your
you.
historical. So I haven't got a chance to read the new one yet. I have it, and I have so many books on my to be read.
I bet. I can only imagine how hard it is being you, because it's hard for me to keep up with all the books that are coming out.
It's and there's a lot of historical fiction coming out, which is
Yeah,
my
it's been
favorite
a
genre, that and mystery thriller. So there's lots of stuff coming out in both genres. And so tell us what this basic storyline, tell our audiences, for Keeper of Lost Children.
well, Keeper of Lost Children, I always have someone that the story is inspired by. Like Yellow Wife was inspired by Mary Lumpkin. The House of Eve was loosely inspired by stories my grandmother told me. And now Keeper of Lost Children is inspired by this amazing, amazing woman named Mabel Grammer, who I discovered just sort of doing a Google search for the House of Eve. She was a Black American journalist. She was living in DC. She married her husband, who was the chief warrant officer in the United States Army. They went over to Germany where he was stationed, and she was lonely. She didn't speak the language. She was a devout Christian. And so she was often in church. And these nuns, they invited her to an orphanage to volunteer. And when she got to the orphanage, she discovered a gaggle of mixed race children. Little known consequence of World War II was that there was an influx of African American soldiers who went over to Europe, to Germany, and they made relationships with German women, and they had these children. Well, the Black American soldiers weren't always able to marry their German brides because they needed to get permission from their commanding officers. And this is the 40s and the 50s. And so we're dealing with Jim Crow laws at home that they carried over with them into Europe. And so 93% of those officers were denied. Not only were they denied, but they were sent somewhere else in Europe or sent home, which left the German woman alone with this illegitimate child, this biracial child, which was problems for her. The government would take away her rations, they wouldn't support her, she would lose her job. And so these children then ended up in these orphanages. And Mabel Grammer, she wasn't able to have children herself because of a childhood illness. So she goes on and she adopts 12. She and her husband adopt 12 of these children for themselves. And then she's responsible for placing over 500 of these mixed race biracial children into American homes, both in Germany and also in the United States. And when I read that, I thought, why is she not a woman that we are celebrating for Women's History? Why didn't I learn about her, in social studies class and history class? And so I knew in that moment that I wanted to write a novel that was loosely inspired by her bravery and her contribution to these beautiful children.
Wow. Well, Rhonda's joined us now. She had to work, so she's joined us. And Rhonda, I know you remember last week we had a guest whose father was in a concentration camp during the same period in Austria.
Mm.
A black man. And so it's just ironic that your book is about things happening during that same time period.
This book is, go ahead, Rhonda.
Oh, I was just going to say, just listening to your story, it's sadly not unusual that soldiers develop these relationships with women at these places where they were stationed in Vietnam, in Germany, in Korea, in places like that. And you're right, they couldn't bring these women back home. And some of them wanted to bring them back home, and some of them didn't want to. That was their out that they could get away.
Yeah.
And so, but then these women were, for lack of a better term, kind of stuck with these mixed race children that they couldn't do anything with. And you're right, they ended up in orphanages. I have a very, very good friend of mine who I don't know if you've heard of, you may have heard in your studies, Operation Baby Lift. There were all of these babies in Vietnam, and many of them were mixed race children. Who were in orphanages. Their parents, their dad was a soldier, often a black soldier, and they were mixed race kids. And mother was a Vietnamese mother, and often they couldn't find the mother, so they were in an orphanage, orphanage, and she was one of these babies, and she wound up being brought to the United States. And she grew up in New Orleans and wound up becoming a model. She's a movie director now. She's doing so many wonderful things.
Nice.
She just happened to be adopted by a great American family when she came to the States.
Yeah.
She actually wound up doing research and finding her father in her adult life and established a relationship with him, but not everybody gets that opportunity.
Yeah. No, that is very true. That is very true.
Wow. So, it sounds like something that Rashonda Tate, she was on the show a few weeks ago with her book. And she said she was in the historical fiction genre now. That's where her place was. But also, when she researched one book, she found this thread that led to the other book. So you mentioned the same thing. You were researching the House of Eve.
I was.
And then found this other historical thread that had never been explored. And I like that when you can fictionalize it, it makes it more marketable as a book to read.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it would end up being a college course book or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easier. I
More
find that
real.
historical fiction is more palpable, right? Like, because you get the fiction, you get the history, you still get all the learning and all the education and all the beauty of what really happened. But when you mix the fiction in, it's like mixing the sugar in. It just makes it easier to swallow.
It almost makes it more real for the person who's reading the story. They can almost
Mhm.
identify with it more. It's which is interesting that they can more identify with a fiction story than they can with a nonfiction.
Yeah,
Well, fiction is just easier to read.
it
Right.
is.
Otherwise, you end up because remember
Falling
last week we
asleep.
were talking about. I know you. Uh, we were talking about it was with Denny Bryce. We were talking about this is a historian who's written three like volumes of books about the civil rights movement. His name is Taylor Branch, and I have all three books. But I've never, I've two of them, the book two and three, I've never even started. Book one, I've started it three times and I always get to the same point. And then I say, well, I'll come back to it. And I start reading one of my other books because, fiction is more
The
relaxing.
fiction just
It's not a
pulls you
relaxing
in.
read.
Yes.
So I've started them three times, the book one. And very, very detailed. I mean, if you want to know the details about the people and everything that happened,
Right.
he went. I don't know where he did all his research, but his books are amazing. I just and I keep saying one day I'm going to do it. I'm going to read all three of them, but I hadn't done it yet. So anyway, anyway, uh, um, the lady that you found that had the orphanages, and then she removed the children. She moved them to America. Is that what you
It
said?
was a combination. Yeah. So there was
Okay.
a combination. She's credited for moving over 500. What she did, because she was a journalist, was she created what she called the Brown Baby Plan. She was a one woman adoption agency, but she wrote a step by step guide on how to adopt these children by proxy. And so she was able to get it published in American newspapers, and people would mail in, what they needed back and forth. They would do it through telephone calls, and she was able to move these children. So that's who the story was inspired by. I went on to fictionalize Mabel's character. So my character's name is Ethel Gathers. And so Ethel's story sort of follows Mabel's story. But I also have two other characters. And I think the tricky part about this book was that I have three characters over three different timelines. So Ethel is like in the 1950s, and then you have Ozzie Phillips, who comes on the page in 1948. And he's a 19-year-old boy from South Philadelphia. He really just wants to make a difference. He wants to make a difference in his life. He wants to go to college, but he can't afford it. And so he volunteers for the army. And he goes over to Germany and he experiences this freedom that he didn't know existed because he had only lived under Jim Crow. And so he has a relationship with a German woman, and this relationship sort of changes the trajectory of their lives together. And he was important to me because I feel like we have, there are thousands of World War II novels on the market, right? There are
Mhm.
documentaries, there are films, but the Black man is largely left out of that narrative. And I wanted to know, like, what was it like for him? Not only leaving America, but being in a place where the Germans didn't care that he was Black. They really loved Black people, but it was the American soldiers that kept reminding them that they're supposed to be in a certain space. And so his story was really important. So you get his perspective. And then the third character, her name is Sophia. And Sophia is about 16 or 17 when she comes into the story. She is this young girl living on a desolate farm, rundown farm in Maryland. She has these terrible parents who make her feel more like farm labor than an actual child. And she wants nothing more than to get off of this farm. Well, she's given a very rare opportunity to go to a prestigious boarding school. Her story takes place in 1965. And when she gets to the boarding school, she realizes that she's one of the first to integrate this school. And she didn't sign up to be a frontliner. She just wanted an education. And this introduces a host of issues for her and her friends. And so you have these three characters on three different timelines telling this one story. So it was a lot for me to pull together, but I think it came together nicely.
Well, the other two books that I read were page turners. So you're right. Your writing style works for me because I was, they both, and they're not thin books. So, I mean, they're
Yeah.
not super thick, but the 400 pages or 350, something in
Yeah.
there. And so, they were they were both books. You stay up late at night and you know you have to get up early, but you need to
Right.
get to
But you need to finish it.
point. You need to keep going, and then you just fall asleep. I read physical books, so I'll be reading something, and then the book will fall on the floor. So that means it's time for me to go to sleep.
Mhm.
That,
I've
that
Mhm.
gotten
means
as
that you
far
were
as
already asleep, Glenn.
yeah. Well, I've gotten as far as I'm gonna get tonight. So, uh, but your books are very well written, and so now who's depicted on the cover? Like, what's the cover depiction?
So the cover is the lost children. So it's just, the lost children.
One. Okay, so it's
We
one.
worked, yeah. So we
And
worked
what
really
body
hard
of
on her.
water is that? Like, does it
So it's
matter?
yeah, no, well it's a picture of an orphan in Germany, and actually it's not water, it's like blue steps. But there's a fire. The building behind is in
Oh,
flames. So you see the
okay.
fire and the smoke coming up from the building.
Okay, now I see it. I should.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think I can see it. Yeah, on my book, I can see it better. I can see the steps, but on
Yes.
the screen, it looks like water.
Uh-huh.
So, um, what made you like? How do you decide how you're gonna craft the stories? Like when you find the thread in history that you say, okay, I want to focus on this. This is really be a great topic. What is there a formula you use? How do you decide how you're going to create your characters and develop them, and then have them interact, intertwine
Yeah.
the story?
I don't write formulaically. I really have to be led. I really feel like I said, the stories choose me. My job is really to be the conduit, to let the story sort of flow through. So I'm following the characters. I start with an idea, and then I will write a synopsis for the story that has a loose beginning, middle, and an end. And then from there, I'll sit down and I'll break it down even smaller. So I break it down by parts. This book is 4 parts. And so I'll break it down and say, in part one, this needs to happen. Here are a couple of plot points, and I'm trying to get here. So I have a bit of a roadmap when
Okay.
I'm writing my stories. Sometimes I know who the main characters are right up front, and then sometimes they surprise me. Like when I was writing The House of Eve, I really was focused very heavily on Ruby. And so I was just going to tell the story from her one point of view. But I was sitting in my office one day and I just felt this presence come over me. And it was strong, it was defiant, it was insistent. It was Eleanor. And she said, Sadeqa, I need your help. I need to have a baby. And I thought, oh, where did you come from? And so I had to figure out, like, if I was going to invite her into the story and see if I could make this work with a 2 point of view character. So that was my experience with The House of Eve. But with Keeper of Lost Children, pretty much from the beginning, I knew I was going to have Ethel, who was inspired by Mabel Grammer, because she was the thread for the story.
Okay.
And I ran into my great uncle at a family reunion, and he's 94 years old. And he was in the Air Force around the time that the story took place. And I was asking him questions about, what was it like being in the Air Force during the Double V campaign? And, how did you feel with Jim Crow America, but you were in Europe and you had this freedom? And so listening to him sort of got me thinking that this perspective is left out of the narrative too often, and I wanted to be the one to tell it. So I knew he was going to be in the story. And then with Sophia, I think I have this propensity to write these coming of age girls who everything is stacked against them, but they have this fire burning in their belly, and they know that they're supposed to be something else. You see it as Phoebe in Yellow Wife. You see it as Ruby in The House of Eve. And now it's Sophia in Keeper of Lost Children.
Well, your description of your process is just really as a fellow writer, I really like the way you think and put your stories together, and one thread leads to another. That's a lot of times that's what happens. When you start off with the beginning, middle, and end, it doesn't always it's not always a straight line.
Yeah, no, it's not. And the end is not always the end. Like I will have
Right.
an idea of what I want the end to be. And then when I get there, I'm like, ooh, that wasn't it. I have
It's
to
always
feel
good
my way through it.
it's always good to have that plan. So you may have the plan before you start writing, but sometimes as you start writing, it takes you in a different direction. But because you have that plan, you're not going too far off of the beaten path.
Yes, that's it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I wanted to ask you though, when you are writing about that relationship between the Germans and the black soldiers, it's it can be a little bit complicated because on one hand, yes, you're right. There were some who didn't care what color the soldiers were. They saw them as people. But then you also still had the Nazis who still only they still only believed in the pure Aryan race, so to speak. So you had a bit of that complicated dynamic. Did you go into that at all in your
I
story?
I didn't go deep into the Nazi regime because my story takes place during the occupation of Germany. And so the Americans had already sort of come in and was securing the space for the German people. And so it was sort of kind of in the backdrop, but it wasn't in the forefront of the story.
Okay. So so a lot of that it kind of
Had happened already prior
right,
to the story starting. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Because that backdrop is still kind of there, even in modern day Germany.
Oh yeah.
That backdrop is still there. I remember um there were some black women who said that they would walk around Germany and still feel invisible. Because they would even get bumped into and people wouldn't even say excuse me, even though I will say part of that is just kind of it's kind of a culture thing.
Yeah.
Often people don't say excuse me when they bump into you.
Hmm.
They're used to just walking and going about their way. My daughter got really irritated with it. She started pushing people back. I'm like, all right, beautiful, you can't push the people. So part of it is our experience as Americans is different from people as Europeans.
Yeah.
And we can't take our understanding as Americans and try to
Yeah.
push that understanding onto people who are a different culture.
Yeah, I agree for sure.
Well, one of our viewers, and we're at the end of our time, but one of our viewers, Lisa Smith, said she missed you. Where was that comment? I just saw it. Oh, when you came to New York.
Oh,
The Center
Lisa.
for Fiction, Brooklyn. She missed you there.
Yes.
So, yeah, so maybe she can pick you up on when you come to New York for your next book, which are you working on your next book? I know you probably are.
I'm thinking about my
Okay.
next book. I'm not
Hey, that's
actually
writing too. That's writing too.
Yeah.
okay. I am thinking about it. I have, this next idea that's come to me is still historical fiction, but it's the first time that place came and not the person. I usually am inspired by the woman, the ambitious woman, the woman who's been left out of history. But this time it's a place. And so I'm sort of reaching around to figure out who my stars are going to be in the story.
Oh, okay. Well,
Hmm.
I like
Well,
LaRonda's comment. LaRonda said that she thanks you for making her feel less crazy because she liked your writing
Oh,
process. She really felt that, and you made her feel like she's less crazy now.
good, because we are not crazy. We are creatives.
yeah, and creatives are, it takes a little bit of crazy to be creative. You
Hmm.
have to think differently outside the box from other people. You have to see something that others don't see necessarily. And your imagination just flows from that. So
Hmm.
thank you so much for being a guest on the
Thank
show.
you.
Congratulations on the new book. I can't wait to get into it. I don't know when I'm going to get into it. It will be sometime this year because I have so many
Okay.
books. I have so many books that I need to get to. But I don't always keep them in the order that I thought they were going to be. Sometimes
Yes, I
one
get
gets
that.
bumped up. So, um, thank you so much and congratulations
Thank
again. And keep
you.
writing these great stories.
Yes, I appreciate it. Thank you all for having me on. I appreciate you. Thank you.
And
Thank
and
you.
uh, traveling grace on the
Thank
next
you.
leg of your tour.
Yes, I better get a little rest because I'm going to New Orleans next.
Come
Yeah,
on, that's my city.
yeah. All right. Have a great
Awesome.
night.
Thank you. You guys have a good night as well.
You
You
too.
too.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye. Okay, yeah, she had mentioned she was going to New Orleans next, right before you came on. So I think she said it's some kind of book festival there in New
Oh,
Orleans right
okay.
now. So, okay, our next guest is also not new to the show, but she hasn't been on in the 2 3 years, maybe four. Now that the show is almost 6 years old, we've had guests that were on like 4 or 5 years ago, and they have been on, and so it's really amazing to see talk to people when they keep publishing and writing books, and we're able to keep track of their progress and talk to them as. And then Valerie Wilson Wesley has been around writing since I've been in the book business. Before, because I think she was already writing when we first started Kush City. And so, Valerie, welcome back to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to see you. I remember we have been around, I won't even say how long I've been here.
Well, we
Oh, I
started
can see all
we
this gray
started
hair.
December of '98, and so and I believe your books were in our store or on our website like then.
Yeah, I've been here for
You you have. Now,
no,
what year did your first book come out?
I can't I think it was, it's embarrassing to say it was like 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I was still working at Essence, and it was when Death Comes Stealing. Um,
Yes, I
in the
remember.
19, it wasn't 20 yet, I'll tell you that. It was 19 something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
1985,
saying.
maybe 86.
We started in December of '98, so we were right on
It
the
was
cusp of
probably
the
right
thing.
around there,
Yeah.
right around
Have you been
1985.
keeping count? How many books has it been so far?
I'm sorry?
Have you been keeping count of how many books it's been?
Well, it's basically I do series, and the thing of it is there are three series I have now. Well, the Tamara Hales aren't, they're still around and they're still in bookstores and people still read them. And those have also been published in other countries. But then I have the Odessa Jones series, which is a lot of fun. It was cozies. And now there's this new one, which I'm
Okay.
really excited about. And the Janetta, excuse me, when the Janetta book, which I'm calling it for short, but with Harriet Stone. And I had written children's books as well, and some, and a paranormal, which I wrote under a name Savannah, well, Savannah Wells, but noted it was my book, which was a big mistake to have done that. But it was fun to write. I like to write, and I've always enjoyed trying different kinds of
I
writing and
think
different
you were
kinds of
on
challenges.
for that Savannah book.
Savannah Wells, it was,
I think
it was,
when was that?
that was, oh goodness, it was, how long ago? But I think that what happened was the publisher really thought that people would be looking for a mystery. So they didn't encourage, well, they told them, well, if you're going to do it, you got to do it with a pen name, which was a
Mhm.
mistake. Because I don't think they really understood how we read. Often, if we get a writer that we like, we tend to follow that writer, no matter what genre you're writing in.
Yes.
And so, and the Savannah Wells books they're fun and they were good and it was a new thing for me to do. But, and you know, there was a new adventure and then I went on to a different type of book. But this one has really been interesting and I'm really excited about it. And this is
Okay.
I'm working on the second book now of the series. So,
Okay.
which will probably come out next year.
So,
I would just say this is different. I guess I'm actually about to put the link in the chat. The Janetta series.
Yeah, the Mysterious Death of Janetta Plum. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
and it came out in December.
Came out in December. Yeah.
Mysterious Death of Janetta Plum.
Right.
First of all, I love her name, Janetta Plum. I can just say that. It's fun to say.
Yeah, it just came to me. These names sometimes just come to you. And
That is true.
yeah, it was an interesting name and from nowhere, literally. But it's, and I said that has a nice rhythm to it. And she's an interesting character. Of course, if you had a chance to read the book, you may know she's not around very long. So that's that's one problem. But she lingers. Her presence is in all the books to a certain extent because so much revolves around her and her relationship to Harriet and just the history of what's happened to their family. And that is something that I think is it's kind of writing a series. You start and then you kind of go on and on and on. And that was with Janetta, but but she's a memory to everybody. And the brownstone, of course, was her brownstone. And but that was but there's always references to her, of course, in the rest of the books in this new series.
Do you have a copy of the book handy?
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact. But I
You
think
can
when I
show
hold
them.
it up, it's me. And it'll be on I have
Well,
the blur thing
put
on, which
put
I've
it
never
close
done.
to you. Put it close
Yeah,
to
you
your
have to put
body.
it right in front of you because you have
Put
your
it close to
background.
your body. Like, yeah, okay,
Oh,
cool.
there it
Almost
is.
there.
Is
Yeah.
that okay? Did
Put
I
it,
have it
yeah.
upside down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
There you go,
Right
That's
there.
right
just
in front
that's
of you. There it is.
it's not really the hardback. I should get the hardcover, which might be a better look. But
Okay.
this
But
is
at
the
least people
reader's
know
copy.
what they're ordering. They know what they
Yes.
need to
Okay,
look
let me
for
get the
when they're
other one,
ordering.
which is it's the same book, but just because it's right here,
Okay.
it's something to get. And
Okay. So it's in paperback and
oh no,
hardcover.
it's in hardcover.
Oh, it's in hardcover.
Hardcover.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, that's great.
Yeah,
Because I
I was
think
excited about
is this your
the
first
hardcover.
hardcover?
Hmm?
Is this your first hardcover?
No, all the other mysteries were hardcover.
See, I always saw them in paperback. Maybe that was when I
Yeah,
became
that was,
aware.
this will at some point come out in paperback and of course in audio, but
Mm-hmm.
the posies were all in paperback. And but this was a hardcover. So and the next one will be a hardcover. And
Okay.
I think that as long as people in audio, which is also exciting because it's become the big, and it actually was consider, it got very good reviews on the audio thing. But it's, and at this point, all the Odessa Jones, as well as this one, is an audiobook as well. So that's
Mm.
interesting.
Yeah, that's whenever they say the book business or book buying or book reading is dead, then they miss, there's always a new thread.
And that's
Like,
right.
when ebooks first came out, and now audiobooks are a
Yeah.
growing thing that some people do instead of reading. Some people do it side by side.
Oh,
They'll listen and read.
mhm.
Rhonda's a big audiobook listener.
Yeah. And you can, when the audio, you can drive and you can listen.
Right,
And you
right.
can do other things and you can listen. I
Yeah,
when
I
I
like to exercise while I'm reading.
oh you
So
can exercise.
so when I like today, I didn't listen to anything today while I was power walking, but like
Uh-huh,
sometimes I'll take a break at work and I'll do an hour-long power walk. That's
uh-huh.
my time to listen to a book.
Yeah, I've done
Mhm.
that with exercises when I exercise or
Mhm.
do a bike. I do a recumbent bike and just
Yeah.
and it's a real escape and it's
Hmm.
and it I enjoy it and a Kindle because only because it's light and I can carry it around. So
Yeah.
that's always kind of a
It's
good
hard
thing
for
to
me to
have too.
concentrate on a book on the Kindle. I'd rather either hold the book or listen
Uh,
to an audiobook.
well, that's
But
what
when
I've
I'm
been. That's
trying
what
to
people
do
tell me.
this, I can't. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just for
That's why
me.
I went back to physical books.
Uh-huh.
I have I don't even know where my Kindle is now. About 3 years ago, I went I was reading on Kindle, but it's almost like it's not a real book. I
No,
know
no,
it
I can't
is,
say
but
that. I think
you
it's
know what I
because I'm
mean?
trying to do it on my phone, not if or on my phone. Now, if I were to
Oh,
do
okay.
this
I
on the
never tried to
on my
read it.
iPad,
Uh-huh.
I
Mhm.
because the iPad screen is bigger,
Bigger.
it
Yeah.
might be easier for me. When I
Yeah.
was reading on my iPad, it was much easier to concentrate. I just think
Okay.
it's harder because it's my phone. Even though I have a pretty
Yeah.
big phone, as you can tell.
Yeah. I wouldn't try to read a book on the phone. This is
Well,
some
for me,
stuff I
it's
don't do
light.
on my
It's
phone.
easy to carry. I can put it in my bag
Oh,
and I can pull it out if I'm traveling. It's easier than, and lighter,
yeah.
particularly as,
To
it's
each his
my
own.
just getting carrying it around and books can be very heavy.
They
And
That's
that's
can
one reason
be.
I
You
you can
just
carry
that's
10 books, Valerie, with the iPhone. I mean with
yeah.
the Kindle. You
I'm
can carry
sorry.
10 books.
I didn't hear you.
No, I said if you're using your Kindle, you can carry around 10 books.
I
You can't
can, yeah.
carry 10 books,
Well,
10
I have it. Well, I don't have a particularly good iPhone. My daughter's finally got me a new iPhone for Christmas because mine was like 10 years old. I'm afraid
Oh, okay.
I'm
I'm
not going
surprised
to
it still works
my
because when they get
grandson.
old, the battery dies. That's the
Yeah,
main thing,
this is
the battery.
my little, it's very small. It's bigger than the one I had. And my grandson, of course, had to show me how to load the thing up and he was showing me all
Yeah,
but it is, but
it's
I'm
second
afraid that
nature to them.
yeah, so
We
I'm not
have to think
good with it.
about it, but there is second nature to,
Yeah.
young people, especially children. The children are like sponges; they just pick up on everything.
I know.
Um,
Yeah. Well, he's
so
19, but
yeah. You said you worked at Essence.
I was executive editor for a number of years.
See, I never knew that. Did you know that, Rhonda?
I feel like I knew that. I feel like
I don't recall. I don't remember
That was
that.
I
before.
used I used to be a big Essence consumer. I mean, I used to subscribe to Essence. I was going to the Essence Festival. I was actually talking about the Essence Festival earlier. I was saying I liked it better in the early years.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's gotten so much bigger and
It is gotten. I was
it
there.
feels impersonal now. I liked it better
Well, yeah,
when it was smaller and it felt more personal.
yeah, yeah. It was more just, but I think now and it's changed radically since when I was there. I was how long since when I started writing. But Susan was editor in chief when I was there, and
Mm,
all, all Audrey Edwards and we were all there kind of together at the same time. And
Mhm.
it was a different, in so many ways, where it's a different kind of book, the magazine. But now
Right.
I have, when it was, I think it was in some ways much more political. We're looking at really, like one of the first things we did was just on the guns, which was nobody was doing guns when we did guns, and the violence, gun violence, and it was, it was a great period. I loved working at Essence, and I really did. And it was just a beautiful place to be with all the energy and excitement, and it's a sisterhood. And
mhm.
goodness, how many years? I guess that's back then in the 1970s. Because when the book I was at Essence when I wrote the first two or three Tamara Hales, and then I would say, well, I would like to take some, kind of work part-time, and she was such a generous spirit. Okay, okay. And then I kind of eventually started writing full time. But it was just a marvelous experience, and in so many ways. And I still have good friends who are editors there, and we all kind of stuck together.
Good.
Mhm. They really had, and this was when we had the store, when we started the website. They really had a lot of focus on books,
Mhm.
and because our store was one of the reporting stores for the Essence
Oh yes,
list.
yeah. I know. I
That's
was
one
always
thing I
yeah.
do miss, Valerie. I do miss that Essence used to have that whole book page where you had the Essence
Mhm.
bestseller list
Yeah,
for the
I love
review.
that. Yeah, it was important. But
Yeah.
I haven't, I have to confess, I haven't read Estons in a while. I'm aged out, I guess. But
Mhm.
I think that certainly it was an important part, and it was certainly important to all of us, who were in our B.B. Moore Campbell, and well, she worked with us, she was not on staff then, but a
Mhm.
lot of people, a lot of really fine writers. And being an executive editor was really, I got to meet people and really interview people and do stories. So it was really a great time for me personally, and was a phase of my life that I'm so happy that I had. And it was an extraordinarily important time to me as a writer and as an editor, and hopefully made important contributions. Um, Susan would kind of say, well, how do it free us, kind of, that's Sonia Sanchez quote, but how do it free us? And that was kind of
Mm.
the what we looked for. How does this make our lives as Black women and as Black people stronger and better? What can we do to make this a better place for us? And that was kind of the editorial bent that we would look at when we just thought of stories to do. It was a really, and I'm very proud of the stories that we did during that period. And an executive editor, I was very late in editing. I started out at Scholastic News and then went from Scholastic News to editor as travel editor, and then from travel editor to ultimately to senior editor and executive editor. And it
Wow.
was just a fantastic period in my life. And I certainly with the Tamara Hales, so much of it came from understanding Black women raising a child alone in that kind of the work ethics of what happened, and that experience of reading readers' comments and understanding what our readership was doing, understanding the things that Black women were dealing with, certainly went into the books that I was writing, the Tamara Hales particularly. So, and of course, it was much younger then, and I was kind of in touch with that whole period too. But I treasure that time in my life and always, you know, Susan is one of my great heroines.
And she looks the same.
She's marvelous.
You know,
She's a
she
lovely
really
woman, and she's
hasn't
just a
aged hardly. You know,
lovely spirit. Just
I've only been to the Essence Fest once, and that was when it came to Houston after Katrina. That was the
uh-huh.
only time that I've been.
Yeah.
So I went
That
to
was
that.
the year everybody was mad that it went to Houston.
I know it
It
was, and I
came right back
know
to New Orleans.
from what people said, it lost some of the charm. Houston didn't have the same feel, man, because Houston's not a walking city.
Yeah.
In New
Right.
Orleans, you go and it's a lot of walk around.
Well, it's been in New
And
Orleans, yeah. Because
my
I know
first
recently.
time really in New Orleans proper,
Hmm.
like really there
Uh-huh.
to spend some time, was when Rhonda, when you and I went to the libraries convention. I had
Right.
been through New Orleans or spent the night, but I had never like spent time there. And so it was a good event that we went to, but also you know, New Orleans is a walking city. It has some
Mhm.
parts where people
Yeah.
just walk around. You have the cobblestones or whatever the streets are. We
Uh-huh.
don't have that in Houston. It's too darn hot and everything's too far apart. It's
Yeah.
just too, it's not, there are some parts of downtown where you do that, but it's not like some of the bigger cities like New
Uh-huh.
York or DC or Chicago even
New
or New
York, yeah,
Orleans.
yeah.
It's not. We drive here. Everything's too far apart. And even if it's not that far, well, to us that not that far is like 5 miles. If it's close, it might be 2 to 5 miles.
Uh-huh.
And in our heat, there's just no way.
Uh-huh.
There's no way that you can be walking. But one thing that we did with the Essence when we first started the website, and we had the store came later. We
Mhm.
started the website. The store was like a year and a half after that. We moved into the strip center, but we weren't using the front. It was just a storefront, but we weren't using the storefront part. Then we said,
Mhm.
well, why not? But we created a catalog and we did it 3 different times where we had
Mhm.
our products and books in there. And
Mhm.
we bought the Essence list. I'm giving a long story, but we rented the Essence list. And
Mhm.
I think we sent out like 25 or 30,000 catalogs
Wow.
and got a great response,
Mhm. Yeah.
from because that's uh now you trying to I guess it's just different now. I guess social media has replaced
Oh, everything is different. Yeah.
everything. So
Everything is different.
um but
It's a
then
different
the
world.
snail mail was important.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
No, now it's all social
even
media.
even now, like I won't say now, but for years, like we did those catalogs, I want to say
Mhm.
2001, 2002, 2003,
Mhm.
up till like 10, 15 years later, people still had the catalog.
Mhm. Mhm.
and would call us and say, "Do you still have this, whatever it is?" Which of course we didn't, because we got out of the retail business like, um, we shifted. But anyway, the Essence list was an important list
Mm-hmm.
because it was a niche. It was totally concentrated. It was Black women
Mm-hmm.
with buying power.
Yeah, it was a very, very important list, and it was exciting. It was important in so many ways. And so that, I was, you know, it was important. And also publishers noticed it. And that was another thing. And it became,
Okay,
because the more that you get, I mean, they publish more books if they know there's an audience. It's a business, of course.
right.
And that's one way to quickly understand what's going on in particular with a particular market is if you can deal with a particular magazine, like an Essence magazine. And, that's what they would use often in deciding what is going to be hot or what books are going to go. Because publishing, besides being, of course, it's a business, but it also tends not to have a lot of Black editors who don't often know what's going on.
And it
And
still doesn't. I
and it's
hear
still
that.
there. It's still a
we,
problem.
we
It's a
hear
very,
that from people that come on the show.
oh,
So it
it's a
hasn't
problem.
changed. Yeah.
But and sometimes people don't understand, how to market to Black people.
Right.
But
Or they think they know Black people. They're not Black, but they think they know Black people better than.
and it comes from they don't because publishing is a very low paying job, and if it's I mean you have to have a trust fund almost to be an editor, assistant editor. You really do. I mean it's
Mm,
really low. It's like nonprofit, steroids. I
wages.
mean, it's
Really?
really,
Okay.
oh yeah, it doesn't pay for if
Oh.
I mean, it does, I guess, if you're a full editor, but if you're
Hmm.
coming out of college and editorial assistant, it's very, very low. So,
Okay. So it's more for the prestige.
well, and yeah, and it's you're not making any big decisions as an editorial assistant. You're reading stuff, going through manuscripts, and it's not really, but people think, do people do it? But
Hmm.
if you send a kid to college or you graduated from college and you want to be able to you have big loans to pay back. So often they simply don't have the money to say, I would love to be in publishing, but it just is not and it's not a career necessarily that
Yeah,
really
it's not
that
enough
really
to pay
pays
my
you off.
bill.
Yeah, if not for the money that you put into becoming, if you're going to be a doctor or whatever you're going to be. It's, and it's a lovely, like I said, if you have a support system,
Hmm.
but if you don't, then, or if you have a child to raise, I think
Right.
it could be something that you don't really, may not necessarily want to be a part of because well, you love books, and it's about ultimately it's not about loving books too, but it's a business too, and
Right.
that's what it is. I mean, it's knowing how to market, it's knowing how to sell a book, it's knowing how to choose, you
I
know.
was I was actually just talking about that. Often people start off writing books because it's a very solitary
Mhm.
activity. They want to write a book. They're like, oh, I don't like to talk to people. I can do this over
Mhm.
here by myself. And then all of a sudden they realize now they have to turn this into a business. They have to
Mhm.
actually
Yeah.
talk to people. They have to market. And they're like, well, I didn't sign up for all of this. I just wanted to sit over here and write my book. I thought somebody else was going to do all of that marketing stuff. And they realize they have to do it and they're not ready for it.
Well, sometimes if you're independently publishing yourself,
Right.
if you're self-publishing, oh, that's you have to do that. I mean, there's no question. But if a publishing house if you're publishing with or I guess a traditional publisher, they do some of it, but still you're expected to do things as well. You're expected to have a website, you're expected to be online, have some social media contacts, or have someone or hire somebody who can do it for you and to get, and if you're really writing, you just want to write. And it's time consuming. I'm not a social media person, but am able to get things on. But it's not, I don't sit around on Facebook all the time. I simply can't because I'm going to write it. I'm writing, and writing is its own, very time consuming.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm. Now tell us a little. We don't have that much time left, so we want to learn more about the storyline for the mysterious death of Janetta Plum, the
I
book
have
that
written
you in
down
the
because
book.
this is called an elevator pitch.
Okay.
The elevator pitch.
Oh,
All
so
right.
and people invariably will ask me, "What's it about?" So, oh, I don't know. So I've
Okay.
written it down. It's 1926, and Harriet Stone has lost her parents during the Spanish flu pandemic. She's destitute, and she and Lovey, an orphaned biracial 12-year-old who she is bound to protect, are invited by Junetta Plum, that name again, a cousin she's never met, to leave their home in Hartford, Connecticut, and join her in her brownstone in Harlem, which he has turned into a boarding house. They have little to lose, and they head to Harlem into the sophisticated world of the Harlem Renaissance that Junetta inhabits. Her cousin has an unexpectedly sharp edge. Still, Harriet is determined to enter her new life. But the morning after they get there, Junetta Plum is found dead at the bottom of the stairs, which leads Harriet to question her very identity and to wonder if she and Lovey are in danger as well. So it is a mystery. And it
Oh,
takes
okay.
place, of course, during the 1920s, during the Harlem Renaissance. And that's what's fun, is the research that goes into that period and the extraordinarily important things that were happening. And one thing with the book that I did do, something in my eye, but one thing that I did do was provide for readers, kind of what I would call, of course, a character list, because you have to know when the time people were living and what the things that were influencing this, as well as historical influences during that period. The Civil War in 1861 to 65, Reconstruction, 1865 to 77, Ku Klux Klan founded in 1865. All of these things go into when you create a character, go into who the character becomes. And so it was very important for me to do the research for the book, which I enjoy doing, and I think as a journalist, former journalist, and really bring hopefully some real heft to the book, some of the characters. And I enjoyed it, but I like research, and I never kind of shied away from it. But you're always checking and double checking and triple checking to make sure you got things right. But that's part of writing a historical novel, is what you have to do. And I think I did. I hope I did. I'm sure there are things I did get wrong, but you do the best you can do, and you give it your best shot again and again and again, and you want your readers to get the best of you as a writer, and that's what I've done with the book. I'm very proud of the book. I'm excited about it, and of course the next one I'm working on the second one as well, so
Book
it'll be out
two.
sometime next year.
Oh, okay. There seems to be a resurgence of interest in the Harlem
Oh
Renaissance,
yeah, yeah.
especially with books, so many books that are set in that period.
It was an extraordinary period, you know,
Mhm.
and in so many things. I mean, in some ways it was like the 60s, which I lived through. And, and just really so many things were happening, so much art. It was a redefinition of who we are as a people, because people were, it was only 60 years out of slavery, enslavement
Mhm.
was this period, 1920s. And it was and music, everything, jazz certainly. And all of these new ways of looking at things. Art, Aaron Douglas, of course, literature,
Yeah.
everybody. And
Mhm.
certainly Langston Hughes, Arnold Hurst, and the list is endless. And all of these young people. And one of the things I tried to capture in the book was his sense of wanting to be part of this, wanting to somehow come into this world and understand it. And at one point, Harriet says in the book, all of these things are happening. And I've been sitting on my porch in Hartford, this idea that what am I doing? The world is happening around me. And indeed, it felt like that she's 26. And of course, with Lovey, who is her little biracial child, who is not her child, but an orphan we're adopted by her parents because but Lovey has her own story. And that's another thing that's interesting.
Oh, okay. Now is Lovey the focus of the book two?
Lovey, they're all Lovey's in book two, and
Okay.
of course Harriet. And as a series, the characters always go
Okay.
carry through, and some remain. Of course, the killer, whoever she be or whoever he be, is no longer part of the story. But
Right.
certainly the main the care and when you conceive it. Well, I have a 3-book series. This is the first book, second book, third book. And as my daughters point out to me, you're going to be 81 when that third book comes out. I said, that's fine. I hope I'm still writing then. Are you sure you want to do this? Yes. Yeah.
That's a
Actually,
blessing to
81.
be able to still write and
Well,
publish
that's what I
and
said.
get
What
book
else am I going to do? Sit
deals.
around and watch MS TV, MS News, or what is it, MSNBC, NBC, or whatever it's calling itself these days.
Now,
MS
now.
Now. No, you really do need to, particularly, and like you pointed out, when I've been writing for a long time, and I
Right.
was just excited frankly, to get a contract, and the editor's excited about the books, and so naturally, I'm excited about writing them. But it does take a lot out of you. Writing is writing, but it's fun for me, and it's also a lot of hard work. Just when you're doing historical mystery, because it's history, and you've got to get it right.
Yes. Well, we're at the end of our time. So, Valerie Wilson Wesley, thank you so much for being a guest again. I'm trying to remember. I think it's been about 3 years since you were on. So, maybe more than that. But thank you so much for coming back to
Thank you
see
so
us.
much, and I would love anytime this new book will be out next year. And it will, and again, the discovery of certain places in Harlem and certain places that happened during this period. It will also be in the Harlem Renaissance, but at
Okay.
that period, because of course the 30s, everything ended in the 30s, 1930s, but certainly the 1920 up to the 20s to up to the 30s. So, and that's the particular period that that I'm writing about. So, thank you all for inviting me.
Oh, you're
For
welcome.
being
And
here.
we'll be on the lookout
Wonderful.
for when book 2 comes out.
Okay, thank you so much. Take care,
Okay.
lady. See you later. Okay,
Thank
bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Okay, so we have another mystery writer coming up, and she's been on the show before a couple of years ago again. So, um, but she has a series, and all of her books in this particular series uh, have one-word titles. And so we welcome back Tracy Clark to Black Authors Matter TV. Oh, unmute. There you
Hey,
go.
glad to
How
be
are,
here.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing great.
Wonderful.
Doing great. Now I have the new book. Uh, it's called Edge,
Uh-huh.
and the first one, well, was Hide the first one?
Yeah.
Okay, I read Hide, and then one of them was Echo.
Uh-huh.
Was that 2 or 3?
That was 3.
Okay, 3 was Echo, and what
Mhm.
was book 2 was
Number 2 was Fall.
Fall. Okay, so I read Hide. I didn't get to read the others, and so my question is, with this new book, do I have to read the other 2 before I read this one?
You don't have to. They sort of stand alone as the cases. The cases are different. The cops are the same. Her team is
Okay.
the same. Harriet's the same. She's just further along in her journey. So you don't she sort of makes a little adjustment in book 3 and 2. So you can sort of pick up at 4. You won't miss that
Okay.
much.
Lost is what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, just jump in whenever you want. They sort of stand alone, but I always sort of try to start at the beginning when I sort of read a series, so you can sort of see the character as they sort of go along. But
Yeah,
do
I do
you?
too. I do too. I don't like to read them out of order, and I don't like to skip. So I'm just really answering my own question. So,
Whatever makes you happy. Whatever.
now, for those who didn't get to see your interview previously, because you had such an interesting background about how you got started with writing, and you write crime fiction,
Mhm.
and but it took you a long time to get published. So, just as an update to the audience who may not have seen your previous interview, which has been 2 or 3 years ago, uh, just give us a little background on Tracy Clark.
Well, I am a overnight success that took over 20 years. I just kept writing. I mean, this is a tough business. I'm not gonna lie to you. The writers out there know it. And you just have to sort of keep going until your shot comes. And it took my shot more than 20 years. I just kept writing and writing and getting rejected and writing again and sort of moving things around and trying to teach myself the things that I didn't know. And so that's how long it took. I don't regret the 20 years because I was learning the whole time. I was getting better at it the whole time, but it's just, it can be frustrating. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, there were t points along that 20 years where I said, well, this is not going to happen for me. I'm just going to put it here and just continue with my day job, and that's going to be it. But there was just something in me that would not let it go. And I don't know if that was stubbornness or pigheadedness or just, I don't know what it was, but I just could not let them have it. I sort of had the feeling that I had something if I could just sort of figure out how to do it the right way. And so I just kept at it and kept at it, and it took more than 20 years. And now here I am on book, what, 9? I just handed the 9th book in. It seems to be doing okay, knock wood.
Wonderful.
And so I'm going to keep writing until they tell me to stop.
A great
Okay.
story, and it's great inspiration for somebody who is probably in their own struggle process. What
Yeah.
what was that feeling that you had that pulled you back? I mean, were you sitting at your day job and a feeling hit you like I really wish I were writing right now, or did something hit you like, oh, I should write that down? What was it?
You're absolutely right. I was sitting at my day job and quite satisfied with it. It's not a bad job, but there was always this feeling in the back of my head that I was wasting time, that I was letting time go by, that I was not doing what I was supposed to be doing. And that was the writing. And in fact, after that maybe millionth rejection letter, I actually put the manuscripts in my drawer and I locked the drawer. And that's where it stayed for 2 years. But all through that 2 years, there was something in the back of my head and in my chest that said, you are wasting time. This is what you should be doing. Get it out of the drawer, start again, and keep going. And that's what I did. And then in the Hallmark movie, that's where, that breakout moment comes. You take the thing out of the drawer, and out miraculously you get your agent and your book deal and everything. It took another 2, 3 years. All right, after the manuscript was out of the drawer, after that 2 years where I didn't touch it, it took 2 or 3 more years before I actually had an agent that said, I would like to represent you. And that it was a struggle, and I got frustrated at times. But I couldn't let it go because I thought I had something. I thought I was saying something on the pages. I wanted these characters out there in the world. And so I just kept going like the Energizer Bunny, and I just kept doing it.
Yeah, determination separates the wheat from the chaff. Or, they used to say the men from the boys or the women from the girls. Determination gets a lot of people success
Yeah.
because most people quit.
They do because it's a hard thing. I mean,
Yeah.
this is your baby, right? This is your heart. And
Mhm.
when people say they don't want it, I mean, that sort of knocks you back a little bit, but I had those inspirations out there ahead of me. Eleanor Taylor Bland, Valerie Wilson Wesley. I mean, these are people who I sort of looked to and read because those were the examples. And so I figured, well, they can do it. They've done it. They stuck in there and got it. I can do it too. And so I just kept going.
Now, what made you settle on crime fiction as your genre?
Well, I tried other things, as most writers do, but other stories, people always turned up dead. And I figured my thing was, sounds like it's going to be crime, because that sort of interested me. Not only the fact that it's sort of like a morality play, good versus evil, but you're trying to, as a writer, I think, understand why people are motivated to do horrible things. And I think that's basically what I'm sort of writing about every book that I write. Why did this happen? What impact does this have on the community and on cops and people who live in the neighborhoods? Crime sort of hits different in different areas, and meaning of justice is different in different areas. What may be just for you might not be just for the next person. And so I'm sort of reading those things out as I'm writing the cases that they're sort of trying to solve, but it's always about character. It's always about community. It's always about the world that we live in and how everybody fits into it. And so that's what I'm sort of struggling with for each book. Um, and sort of so far I've been pretty lucky about it, and I'm gonna keep going until probably until I drop dead.
I often talk about when I talk about villains, I've always said I like Marvel comic villains because they're they're not villains depending on who's looking at them. How do you shape your villains? Are they villains no matter who's looking at them, or are they villains with kind of a good purpose or a good purpose in their eyes, so to speak? How do you kind of craft
Mhm.
them?
I craft them as regular people because they don't see themselves as villains. They're
Right,
just working with the motivations that they have internally, however they were raised, what trauma they sort of experienced. Can be sort of twisted, but they're twisted in their own unique way. And they're sort of working their lives out as they see fit, and it may or may not fit with what society considers civilized or normal or lawful. And so I take it down to the character level. These villains, these bad guys, are not bad guys in their eyes. Okay, they're living their lives, they're doing their thing. This is what they need to do to sort of get by. And it's antisocial. It's something that civilized society does not accept. And that's the sort of play that I sort of work with it. So villain here doesn't consider himself one. Cops do, society does, the neighborhood does, because they're preying on innocent people. And so
right.
those two things have to come together in some kind of way. And there has to be some kind of resolution at the end. We don't always get it in real life. In fact, most of the times we don't. Terrible things happen to people, and there are no solutions. There are no easy answers. In a book, you can sort of tie it up a little bit, try to make some sense of it, try to sort of, sort of figure out what's going on and why. But you don't get that resolution in real life, unfortunately.
That is true. Things don't always get like wrapped up,
Right.
whereas like with an ending at all. Sometimes some things are open-ended in
Right.
real life.
Exactly. Yeah.
They never really get truly resolved. Sometimes we have to just move on, from whatever it is,
Yeah. Yeah. And
depending on
accept.
what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I can't remember if I asked you this before. Did you have a legal background, criminal justice background?
Nope, I don't.
No?
My background was in journalism and communications, and that's what I sort of have this sort of other life in my head, these voices.
Okay.
And but crime always sort of interested me for those reasons. What motivates somebody to do something this horrendous? To take a life is a very important thing you've done, right? I mean, you've taken somebody's kid, somebody's wife, somebody's husband, somebody's child, I mean, how do you come back from that? So I'm always asking myself why, how, what motivates this, what kind of person does something like this. So that's what I write about. It might be about the case, it might be about the cops, but it's also about that internal question, what makes us human? What makes people do inhuman things? And so I'm always wrestling with that. And I sort of find cases that I can write about that sort of I can fictionalize. But that's the question that's sort of as the underbelly of it. What are we doing? What are we doing to the people, to each other?
Yeah, I think I connect with you there because I'm always that person who wants to know what somebody's motivation is.
Hmm.
I even if they're totally evil, like what made them that way? I mean, I don't believe anybody was just born evil. Like what was that one thing that got them to that point? I'm
Yeah.
always I guess that's why I like watching movies of those true movies about serial killers. I mean,
Hmm.
not that I want to watch the blood and gore. I always want to know what was that history behind that person? Why did they grow up the way they did? Or
Hmm.
what made them like they are? And sometimes like, wow, now I see why they turned out the way they did because they had kind of a crazy childhood,
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. That's the stuff that I'm looking at. I mean, we just didn't come fully formed as adults. We were
Mhm.
children first. We were babies and toddlers and children. And something happened along the way
Right.
that either sort of put you in a different direction or twisted your innocence in a different way. And so that you sort of end up as an adult who cannot function correctly in the world that you live in. And so that's where the twist becomes. And that's where they sort of do things that they should not be doing. killing people they should not be. I mean, people do all kinds of horrendous things for a million reasons. Drive-by shootings. I mean, who does that? I mean, you're just shooting indiscriminately down the street. You don't know who's on the street. They don't care. What makes you not care? And so I'm writing about that. What happened to you that caring is not something that is a basic emotion that you have. And so I'm sort of wrestling with that every book. It's about the case, like I said, but it's also not about the case. It's about the people.
Mhm. Yeah, um, and this is just my personal assessment, just being so many years on this earth. Some people, as babies or as children, they didn't get enough hugs. You know, it's not, some people think things are always about money and materialism or material things. And children need hugs. They
Hmm.
need love. They need to know that their parents are unconditionally there. And some kids have the misfortune of being born to parents don't, that are self-obsessed. They really, and when you're a parent, if you're a hands-on parent, active parent, it's really the opportunity for you to put somebody ahead of yourself.
Hmm.
Because normally a mother and a father, but a mother, will jump out in front of a bus to protect her kid, you
Hmm.
know. So some children though, and we see them on the news, or sometimes now you see them on TikTok or whatever. People are posting videos of children that are 3 years old, walking in the neighborhood with no shoes and wearing a diaper. It's an uncaring. And I'll say a mother. If you don't have a mother that really wants to be your mother,
Hmm.
that's tough.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
You're
know,
absolutely right.
and some people just never. The prisons are full of people like that
Hmm.
because, and it's unfortunate. It's just really a shame.
Yep.
But that's sometimes the mind of a criminal is they weren't loved, and so they're acting out that
Hmm.
being unloved.
Or the opposite could be true. They could have everything. They could have everything. They could have that
Okay.
mother. They could
Okay.
have
Who
affluence.
dotes on them? Who,
Uh-huh. And
amongst
then
okay.
absolutely turn out the wrong way too. So there's no
That is true.
there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just I don't know what it's an individual sort of thing.
It is.
Um, I don't
But
know.
some of those kind of people had a lot of materialism,
Mm-hmm.
but no discipline.
Yep.
And a lot of times in those situations, the parents aren't hands on because they hand their kids off to a
Yeah.
therapist or a nanny or somebody else.
Yep. Yep.
They're
Yep.
not really in there,
Absolutely.
raising them themselves. So, but now I think Rhonda watches crime fiction, true crime. I know my sister does, but
I mean, I
I
don't watch it regularly. Don't get me wrong. I don't watch it regularly. I mean, I
okay.
used to watch For His Love, or the TV show that used to come on,
Yeah,
I think TV1, where the
I
woman
saw.
would kill so she could be with the man that she loved. I had to stop watching that. Because it
I
was
saw one episode when I was getting my hair done. It's not the kind of show I watch, but I'm in a chair in front of the TV. I can't move, so I'm forced. My
Captive audience.
spouse, I'm forced to watch it, and I'm like, who does this?
it was I had to stop watching it because it was disturbing that these were
Yeah,
true
they were real
stories
people.
of people who actually killed just for the sake of having some person who
Yeah.
they were going to be with. Because most times the guy that they
Couldn't care
killed
less.
turned on them.
Yeah, yeah, he
No,
couldn't care less.
right.
He's about
So,
himself.
I had to stop watching it. But I'm just saying, to me, like when I watch these movies, like I watched the Menendez brothers movie and I watched the Jeffrey Dahmer movie because those were cases that I remembered growing up. And I always wondered why in the world did they do what they did? What in their life made them turn out the way they did? And so I wanted to watch those movies. But I think what was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I didn't want to watch the massacres. I didn't want to watch the killings.
Mhm.
I wanted to really see the history behind what made them turn out the way they did. I could almost turn when they started the killing part, but I just
Yeah,
needed.
the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I saw it as at a drive-in movie that was next to a wooded area. It was scary because the whole thing took place in the woods. I was scared. That was a scary movie. I don't know about the remake because I only saw the original once, and I didn't want to see any more of it. But yeah, you just never. And I didn't want to see Jeffrey Dahmer. Just the whole thing was creepy to me. Just the idea of him doing the stuff he did. It was just some stuff I can't watch. I don't really like true crime. I like a scripted crime show, like with law enforcement or like I just finished watching. I just finished binging um the Mayans. So I love Sons of Anarchy. I don't know if you all ever saw Sons of Anarchy. Excellent show. It was about a motorcycle club and stuff, the crimes and stuff they had to do, their personal relationships, the things they had to do to survive. But it was a lot of personal relationships. It's really well written and scripted, and the acting, the casting, everything was perfect. So they were friends with a Mexican bicycle club or motorcycle club called the Mayans. And so they did a series, a follow on called the Mayans motorcycle. So I just finished binging it. It's just really, really, really good stuff. But they did a lot of crime. They were criminals, but they were really a bicycle club that used crime to finance their lifestyles. And it could be running guns, it could be drugs, a lot of killing, because it's competitive and you have to, somebody's always undermining them, betrayal, a lot of betrayal and things like that. But anyway, I'd rather watch a scripted crime show. Like I watch FBI. It's not as good as it used to be, but I watch that. Um, I like I used to like Law and Order, but not like over the years it got weird to me. But I like that. But the true crime, no, it's not for me. But your crime fiction is almost like true crime, like the true crime shows.
Mm. Well, I
Just
try.
yeah, I mean, you do a really good job of.
People want to read them. I mean, I'm looking at your reviews. You have almost 1,800 reviews on your book 4.
Mhm.
I was looking at even in the comments. Tony Bonita says she's read all 4 of them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow. Well, thank you.
Yes. So right now, people are being satiated. Like you're satiating people's thirst for these books.
Well, I would like to hope that they're interested in Harriet because she's an interesting character. When we meet her in the first book, she's really at a low point and she's lost almost everything. And so during the course of this series, she's gotten a little better, but when she meet her in book 4, she's at the point where she can go no further. She has stuffed down so much stuff and not dealt with it that she has no more room for anything else, and she can't stuff anything else in. And so now she's at the edge of where she needs to be. She has to make a move. She has to do something that's going to help herself. So
Okay. And thus the title,
Edge, yes. And so it's the name of the toxic drug that they're trying to find on the street, but it's also about her too. Her boss has mandated that she get herself some therapy. Get herself some therapy or don't come back. And if she doesn't come back, she has nothing else. She has just the job. She has nothing at her house. So if she doesn't come back here, where does she go? And so now we have to go through the whole psychological thing and try to unravel all of this trauma that she sort of experienced. So that's what Edge is about. I don't know where we'll find her in book 5. Hopefully she'll be in a better place than this, but you have to sort of change characters as the series goes along. And she's made some, monumental, nominal changes. She's sort of shifted a little bit. She's not great, but she's better than she was. And that's like most human beings. I mean, we don't make monumental changes. We sort of make little creepy changes as we go along, 1 step forward, 2 step back. That's life. Things happen that are successful. And then we have, on the other hand, stuff that doesn't go well, and we have to deal with that. And so I try to make her as human as I can possibly make her, as sort of authentic as I can make her, emotional wise. And so I think that's what readers are sort of pinging on. I think they like Harriet and they want to stick around to make sure that she is okay and she sort of finds her way. At least I hope that's what it is. At least that's what I'm sticking around for. I want her to be good. I want her to be whole.
So her
Okay, now, see, now I have to read 2 and 3.
the storyline of the mystery she's trying to solve.
Yes, yeah. So she's going along as the case goes along. People are dropping dead in the streets of Chicago because somebody has put out a toxic drug. It's taking all people from all neighborhoods, not just the poor neighborhoods where you're expected or where society expects it, but people over here on the north side, people in the suburbs are dying, and they have to figure out who's putting this drug out there, why they're doing it, and get it to stop. And so, in the midst of that, Harriet has to fix herself. She has to find her therapist, and she has to sit in that tiny little room with this psychiatrist and talk about all of the stuff that she does not want to talk about. And those scenes were really difficult to write for me because nobody's talking in this room. The psychiatrist is waiting for Harriet to talk, and Harriet is sitting over there not talking. And so having to write a scene like that when nobody's saying anything is sort of a delicate dance because somebody's got to make the first move.
You have to really draw. You have to really draw
Man,
imagination.
yeah. Don't I? I mean, that's what makes it so hard for me. And I have to make sure that the psychiatrist is the right kind of psychiatrist because she would not talk to anybody. Harriet would sit in that room for 50 minutes and not open her mouth if I did not give her a psychiatrist that she could sort of deal with. So what I've given her is an African-American woman, an ex-cop who was sort of injured in the line of duty, who went back to school and became a psychiatrist. And now here is that person in the room sitting in this chair. Harriet is sitting in the other chair facing her, and now they have to have a discussion. And we started in book 4. It will continue in the next book when I pick her up because she said a little bit, not a lot, not enough to heal herself, but the conversation has started. So it started, I've given her the right psychiatrist, I put her in the right room, and now we're off to the races. Now she can sort of get to a point where she can move forward with her life and with her career and get it going. So that's the challenge for me for the next book. And hopefully I can pull it off. Or it could go wrong. I mean, I don't know.
Let's skip this book 4 just because I want to read this scene.
Well, see,
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna have to read. I'm gonna have to do a cursory reading of the first book that I've already read. Then I'm gonna have to read 2 and 3 because you've already said that these things keep building on themselves, book to book, and I don't want to be in book 4 and not knowing what the heck is going on. So now, who decided about these one-word titles? I think it's really brilliant. The first one was Hide, and I think they all have raindrops on them. Is that true?
I think so because
Yeah.
yeah,
They all have raindrops.
a couple of them take place in the middle of winter, so there's sort of a frosty thing going on. But this one
Okay.
takes place right at the edge of winter, right into spring. So it's sort of
Okay.
rainy and drizzly and blah blah blah.
Okay.
But yeah, the titles, I came up with the first one, Hide. Okay.
Okay.
Nice. Okay.
Mhm.
Now it did well. And so now the publishing house, in being a business, they want one word is a nice title thing. So
For
it's
all
now
the
my
other.
brand. Okay. So
Okay.
Fall became the second, and then Echo, and now Edge. And not only the one word, but the one word, 4 letters. Okay. So I don't know what,
well, you're
I don't know
right.
what, I don't know what book 5 is going to be. I think I'm
You're
running out
right.
of, I'm running out of four
Let's see.
4-letter words here, but I can think of a few, but I don't think it's
Hey.
gonna look too good on a
No cuss word.
book.
No cuss words.
Hi. Not H-I-H-I-G-H.
We'll see. Oh, we make
Yeah.
you never
Can't do
know.
low. Low's only 3 letters.
No,
So, well, Tracy, thank you so much for coming back on the show.
well, thanks for
Congratulations.
having me.
Your books. And yeah, Tony Benita said she read all 4. And
Thank you, Tony.
Tony's an avid reader. I mean, she's like consumes books like you wouldn't believe. And so if she says she's read all 4 of them, then that means I need to read all 4 of them. So I'm only on book 1, and I've only read that one. And that's been a couple of years ago when I read that. So I need to go back and review and then catch up with 2 and 3. But I love the 1-word, 4-letter branding. It's great.
Yeah.
And,
so far, it's working out.
Life, because Harriet finally gets it together.
Yes, I think readers are so happy that she's got somebody that she can talk to, and someone she can unload all of this trauma on. And so now we can sort of get somewhere. Now we can sort of put her life together again. I like that. I'm excited about it.
Okay, well, yeah, Tony Benita, she said life, so that's good. So anyway, thanks, Tracy. Congratulations again, and continued success with your writing.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
You too.
Great night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, so now we're bringing on our final guest, and she is new to Black Authors Matter TV. She's never been on before. She writes under the name Zee Renee, and I don't know if that's her real name. That's the name she writes under. So she writes more than one genre, I believe. I know she writes kind of romance, urban fiction is kind of in that vein. So do you go by Z or Zee Renee?
I go by Zee Renee, both.
Okay, Zee Renee, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Zee Renee. Hey, Zee Renee.
Hey.
But now I will ask you if you can do us a favor. I don't know if you can maybe tilt your screen down a little bit because you're like barely in the screen. Oh, that's better.
Yeah, that's better. A little bit more would be even better.
Yeah, it's going pan down because I guess I don't know if it's how my computer is sitting, but I push it back some. Is that good?
You can, yeah, that's perfect.
Okay,
that's perfect.
Yeah,
you can see your whole face, not just And I could probably take the advice myself, but because if I do mine, let me see.
Y'all need to be like me. See how like I'm framed. So I'm
framed.
I need to get a setup like that.
The logo or the URL, I try not to cover it up. And if I do this, see, I'm covering up the URL. So that's my thinking with when I do my camera. But anyway, but I like the way you look, Rhonda. So let me say that. So anyway, so Zee Renee, tell us a little bit about your writing, the genres, the different genres you write in. How did you decide I'm going to be a writer in romance or urban fiction or urban romance, or what made you, and how long have you been writing? Because we haven't had you show before, so we're learning all about you and your motivations, and I didn't know you were that close to Houston. That was the other thing. She's in Richmond, which is like a far, like outer suburb or
yeah. I'm right down the street.
Yeah. So I didn't realize that until I saw your information. So anyway, tell us about Zee Renee and what she writes and what motivates her.
Yeah, so I've been writing, I just counted, I think it's 18 years. I write what I write because I was reading stuff I had no business to when I was supposed to be reading it. My mama used to have this big old bookshelf. She'd be like, don't be reading my books. I'm like, okay, I'm not. And I'm reading Zane and stuff at 8 years old. Like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I know. I know.
And I didn't even read Zane.
I got busted for reading The Color Purple at 12, and you were reading Zane at 8.
I wasn't supposed to. I was being hard-headed.
Really?
So
I read one Zane book. It was one like with the it was like a high rise on the front. I can't remember the name of it. No, I didn't read Addicted. I heard about Addicted.
With the high rise.
I respect Zane because Zane, when she first came out, She only sold her book in Black bookstores. That was how she got her start. And she was committed to that. And so people had to come into, and we had a bookstore at the time. People had to
Oh
come into a
wow.
Black bookstore to get her work. And
Never
she was
showed her face at first. When she first started writing, she didn't show her face. So nobody
right. She didn't. Nobody knew what she looked like. And
I
she's an
love that.
engineer. She's an engineer by profession.
Oh wow, that's amazing. I'm excited to meet her. She'll be at Black Romance in May. So
Okay.
they're gonna be looking for me at my table. I'm gonna be at her table. But
Yeah.
that's how I kind of got my start, just kind of sneaking and reading. And then I started writing fan fictions when I was around like 13 on this app was a website called Wattpad. And then from there I love urban fiction, urban romance. I just wrote my first romance novel, and I was like, I thought it was urban. I was telling my friends, I was like, yeah, this one put up here is urban. They were like, girl, that's romance. So just dipping my toe in different stuff. So I don't want to ever put myself in a box, not just in writing, just in general. So
Mhm.
that's how I kind of dip my toe in the erotica, dip my toe in the romance. My granny, when she was still here, she was like, you need to write a children's book. So I have a children's book coming out soon. So I just want to be in multiple genres.
Okay. Well, I agree because I'm in multiple genres, so you know, I write whatever I'm inspired to write at the time, and so I'm working on a couple of books now. Actually,
Oh
I hate to
wow.
have like 3 books in the hopper, but the main one is the one I'm working on regularly. I'm going to finish it first, so I hope that'll be out this summer sometime, like maybe June or July. We'll see, depending on
Is
how
that your first one?
my first.
Your first book?
Oh no, I have 15 books.
Oh wow.
So
Well,
this will be book
congratulations.
16.
Okay. Okay.
But they're all different genres. I have children's books. I have like self, instructional. I have religious based book. I have 2 novels.
Oh wow.
So I write in different genres. I write based on being inspired on a particular topic. So
I
I'm
love that.
in that. So and I'm thinking about writing a devotional just because of
That'll
a
be great.
recent family tragedy. So and Rhonda knows about it, but my daughter recently lost a baby at 33 weeks. It was her first
Oh
baby.
man. I'm
It was
so
a
sorry to hear that.
horrible experience. But I was thinking about it, and I want to write something that expectant or aspiring mothers, because if
Mm,
you've had a loss, you're anxious about getting pregnant again and taking, the
right.
whole pregnancy. So I want to
Hmm.
write a devotional, and I'm going to call it, and somebody steals my title, I won't be happy. But
People your title, girl. Don't tell those people your title.
I'm
well, I'm
telling
going
you,
to have
I
to
don't.
bring the book out.
Here, nothing to hear
Okay.
here.
Well, I'm going to write a book that's a devotional for aspiring and expectant mothers to keep them in a positive
I think that's a
outlook.
beautiful, beautiful idea. I'm actually
They're
Most
working
pregnant.
on
definitely.
my first nonfiction book soon, and it's going to be dedicated to Black women working in professional arenas.
Oh wow.
Okay.
I love that. Congratulations to both of you guys.
Well,
Yes.
thank you. We not only do this show, we've been like in this space for decades.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I,
we
I mostly write fiction. I write contemporary women's fiction, but I
Okay.
help a lot of people with their books. I help a lot of people with their memoirs and their nonfiction and their devotionals and so forth. But so I'm going to be writing. I'm going to be writing. Well, I wrote my dissertation a few years ago on the myth of the angry Black woman syndrome. So I'm going to be taking
okay
that
as a foundation.
yeah, I'm going to be taking that dissertation. I'm going to be re-releasing it and writing a book on African American women who work in the corporate sector and how they
Oh
contend
wow.
with the angry Black woman syndrome.
I love that.
Yeah,
Are
so
y'all books on Amazon? I'm sorry.
yeah, all of them.
Okay.
Amazon, Barnes and Noble,
Yeah,
things.
different places. But I do all my books through KDP. So, they're on there, but they also end up on other places. But I have, well, one of them's through Ingham Spark, but that's one of my children's books. But somehow they end up on these other platforms. I haven't like put them there.
Yeah.
Now, have you found that to be the case? Or are you self-published, a hybrid? How how um how do you publish yours?
I'm self-published.
Okay.
Hybrid, maybe one day, of course, but I enjoy doing things on my own. So, and
There's
it's,
nothing wrong with that. I
yeah,
think there's a stigma against people who self-publish, but it's just like music artists. A lot of look at Chance the Rapper. He chose to
yeah,
stay independent, even though
mm-hmm,
a lot of music labels have been beating down his door trying to get him
yeah,
to with them. He chooses to stay independent. He likes to be independent, and there's nothing wrong with an author being independent
right,
because you have a lot more flexibility that way. You just need to make sure that your work does not look like something that's thrown together or that you did by yourself. Your work should look just as professional as somebody who's traditionally published. And as long as you
exactly.
bring that work and that heart and that skill into your work and that
Mm-hmm,
pride into your work, it's
mm-hmm,
okay if you
mm-hmm.
choose self-publish.
Yeah, I love it. Just like you said, and I know, and I'm trying to say this in I know it's a pressure, right now in the community, like, oh, drop a book once a month. And it's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not
Once
just
a
about to give
month.
y'all anything. Yeah, it's a
Is
lot of
it
pressure in the community, yes. And it's like, I'm not doing all
once
that.
a
I'm gonna
month? Who
drop
can who
when
can come up with a story that quickly?
a lot of people be dropping them like back to back, and I'm like, that's
But are
good for
they
them,
good?
but for
Are they
me,
good stories?
Read book.
yeah,
Wait,
look, I don't
are
read
they-
and write. I literally I stay in my own lane and it works for me. But I'm just not gonna give the people anything, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like I was called to this for a reason, so I'm gonna do it the right way. So
So how many books do you have so far?
I have 9. And I'm working on my 10th one now. So
Congratulations. And I noticed you
yes.
have some really good reviews in terms of just the numbers of reviews.
Yeah.
See, and you're self-published and you're getting over 1,000 reviews. That is really, really good. That's
Yeah.
yeah, that means a
Uh,
lot of people are reading your books.
Yeah, it's definitely a blessing. I published my first book December 2023, which was All In. Um, I was like, I'm gonna just do it. Like I just took a leap of faith and I did it. And I think a lot of people was like, who is this girl that's coming out swinging with a 700 page book? Like I didn't care about what everybody
How
was
you
talking
with a
about. I know
700-page book?
Yeah,
mhm,
I saw one that was 500 and some pages. I thought it was a typo.
nope.
Hey,
That was
It
my
was,
second book. It
oh,
actually was I think it was 606 before I got it reformatted. But now it's like people that's what they want now. They're like, is this one gonna be thick? Is this one gonna be thick? Because I did 2 thick ones back to back and then I started doing novellas. And now they be
okay.
like, okay, these was okay, but let's get another thick book. So um I don't know. I feel like I came in and kind of just kept my voice, made my mark, and I'm just praying that the Lord continue to bless it. That's it.
That's a lot of words.
It is. I didn't even know it was that many words, honestly, because at the time when I was writing that book, I didn't have a laptop. So I wrote everything on my phone. So I had no idea
You
how many
wrote
words it
everything on
was
your
until I
phone.
put it into Word. And I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't even know I wrote that much. So yeah, I was
Wow.
shocked too.
I don't do much on my phone, but I know people who are younger than me. Like my stepson will tell me he does almost everything on his phone. But
You can.
I, because I learned to type, at a young age,
Hmm.
I need a keyboard. I
Yeah.
need I need the convenience and the just the setup of a
Mm-hmm.
laptop or a computer. But now, and see, I can't even text with the thumb texting. I can't even do it because I'm used to typing.
Really?
I have to, because I know where the letters are on the. I do a finger texting. I can't do the thumb thing. And sometimes when something that you do physically is kind of baked in.
Mm-hmm.
I've been typing so long, knowing like I can tell you where every letter is on the keyboard without looking. Um, I can't. My brain cannot make the shift. It's the human mind is an interesting instrument
It is.
because
It
you
is.
can get in a mode and it's hard to change it.
Mm-hmm.
And you have
Mm-hmm.
to. Now I don't have a desire to change it either. So if I
Yeah.
really wanted to, I probably could. If I wanted to learn
Yeah.
how to thumb text, I could sit down and look at a YouTube, whatever.
Yes,
But
you wrote on your phone. Did you text it, or did you actually text?
Nope. I typed the whole book on my phone except one scene.
wow, I didn't even
I
know
didn't
that was
have a laptop at
possible.
the time. They have an app on the phone that comes in iPhones. It's called Pages. And so I was
Okay.
just writing in Pages. At first I was just sending it to my friends, and then you can pretty much do, it's kind of like Word on Pages, and you can turn it into a PDF, a Word doc, or a Google Doc.
Okay, so
It's
it's
pretty
like Google
convenient.
Docs.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you ever print it out? Did you
I
ever?
never printed it out. When I decided I want to publish it and I finished it, I transported it to a Word document and just did it that way.
Oh, okay. That's
Hmm.
interesting. This is I'm finding out some technical things that I didn't even know were happening. So
Yeah, they
that's
have an app called
interesting.
Pages. Yeah.
Okay. So now your two treatises, this is a like those two thick books.
Hmm.
What were they about?
All in, all in. It literally, I'm a football girl, so I was watching football one day, and this player, he just stood out to me. I was like, I don't know, I just feel like he may live a double life, and I had never seen or heard of it before, and so I just let my imagination run with it. So it's about Kavion and Harley. The first book, it's called All In, and just the balance of life. She has anxiety. I see my mom battle with it. So I just wanted to write a story where Black women can be seen through the lens of whatever mental health and knowing that they can overcome anything. I wanted to show something different with him. He also had like childhood trauma that he had to deal with, but while he was playing football, he was also living in the streets. So it was a lot of overcoming in that book. The second book is about his brother Kylo, and he had a lot of trauma from the same thing like his brother, but his was much deeper. I touched on suicide, depression, sex trafficking, a lot of different things in that book. And that one is, people will read the second book before they read the first book because I was in a place of grief, and I feel like a lot of those emotions are in that book. So it's a lot of healing that takes place there. So a lot of different topics. The books are about a lot of different things. I covered a lot of different topics.
Well, that's unusual to write a book that thick because
Hmm.
it's like the market seems to be moving more toward novellas.
Hmm.
So that's why I was surprised
The
that
market
you.
is moving toward novellas, but I think there is still a pretty decent sized audience that wants the thicker books.
Hmm.
Especially because, and I think it's because I think we authors can be blamed for that because we authors are still trying to charge people $25 for a book that's only 100 pages. And so,
Hmm.
so like if you're gonna be charging me $25, it needs to be a thick book.
Hmm.
So more authors are trying to go for the thicker books because they want to charge $25 for the book.
Yeah. I think too, to your point, I think, like I said, my readers, they be like, girl, we want it thick. So I'm like, all right. But I don't always do that. It just depends on how the characters speak to me. But as far as like pricing goes, on Amazon, you're gonna always see my prices higher. That's for me to push the readers to go to my website because I'll charge, what's best. Because, Amazon, we don't see all of our coins. So,
Absolutely not.
yeah, they always are priced higher on Amazon for me. But on my website, I'm not going to charge no $25 for no 100 pages. That's
Right.
crazy. But because the printing
I've
is
seen
like
it.
$2,
Mhm.
But,
Well, if it's Kindle, it's zero. If it's the ebook, there's no cost for
yeah.
production. You just upload it and that's it. So, but I think people don't understand the market. I posted about that a little while ago, just a short Facebook post that book buyers have budgets. I
Mm-hmm.
because I work with a lot of authors to promote their
Yeah, we
books.
have to
That's
respect that budget.
yeah, you have to respect that. And I'll
Mm-hmm.
go when they give me their information. I'll go on Amazon and they got a hardcover book and they want to charge $40 for it, the hardcover version, to 25 for the paperback, and they're not even that thick. And so, you know, I'm wondering, do they really think that people will pay that? Or has somebody paid that and I don't know. The market, is what the market will bear. It's the
Right.
prevailing rate is what you charge.
Mm-hmm.
And if your book is, like Rhonda said, 100 pages or 125 pages, you can't charge $25 for paperback. Now, hardcover you could,
Yeah.
but that's still kind of high, but not a paperback. But
Yeah.
I see people charging ridiculous amounts. And like, for example, last week we had a guest that had a coffee table book.
Mm-hmm.
Those are always expensive because they're for your coffee table. They're big and they're full of photos that are
Mm-hmm.
expensive. So
Mm-hmm.
that book is $50. I looked it up. I put it in my cart. I hadn't pulled the trigger on the
Yeah.
purchase. But it is
But it's
in
in the
my
cart. That counts
cart.
as something.
So um now we don't have that much time, but you have an event coming up called
Yes.
Plots and Pours.
Yes, that's correct.
POURS.
Mm-hmm.
So where is it? When is it? What is it about?
So Plots and Pours was founded just to foster the connection between authors and readers alike. This is our second year. Last year we were under a different name called Pages and Prosecco. It was just a brunch style. We had about 60 to 70 people. This year, I was like, all right, I want to go a little bigger, but I still want to keep that same intimate feel. So it'll be in 2 weeks. Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's
March
coming up.
27th. Yes, March
Okay.
27th, 28th. We actually just sold out of all Saturday tickets this past Saturday. So I was super happy about that. So we're expecting 250 people on Saturday, 120 on Friday. It'll be a mixer on Friday. It's called PJ's Kicks in Paradise. The whole weekend is tropical. So
Okay.
we'll come with our favorite PJs, our favorite sneakers on Friday. Saturday is Books in Paradise. Everybody have their tropical outfits, whatever that looks like. We have 24 authors, including myself. A lot of new authors. I think I have 6 or 7 authors. It's their first book event ever. We have, some more popular authors. We have, I was about to give some away. I don't want to give it away, but we're doing a lot of things that people don't even know that we planned.
Okay.
A lot of my team is my family because I like to bring people that see my vision and respect my vision. So I got people coming in, traveling in, and we're gonna have a good time. We've been working hard. We start planning. PNP last year was in March as well, and we started planning in May of last year. So for it to be
Okay.
2 weeks away, I'm like, oh my goodness, this time really flew, but it's gonna be a good time. We've been praying, we've been working, we've been putting in the work, so I'm excited.
Okay. Now, where is it going to be held?
Friday is going to be at C Suite, which is on Westheimer, and then Saturday will be at the Domain. Domain 8208 is what it's called on West Park. They're about 12 minutes apart.
So that's in
Okay.
Richmond, right?
No,
No,
that's
it's
in
in Houston.
Houston.
In
Mm-hmm.
Houston, Texas. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's in
It's
the
in Houston.
Texas
southwest.
means I can't make it.
Yeah.
Yes, in Southwest. Yeah,
It's the
no, it's not in
southwest part
Richmond.
of Houston.
Yeah.
So not where where I am, like where our event is in the Northwest. It's like 30 miles from where
Yeah,
she's going to be. So, you know, Houston's so big,
it is.
you can be, you can have an event and you can promote and promote and promote, and you still can't reach everybody because it's just too big. It's just,
Yeah.
you know, it's too
People
large.
been coming like, you still got tickets? I'm like, we've been having tickets all these
They-
months and now we sold out. Y'all just finding the tickets.
That's
That's
how
how it
they do
hmm
works.
Yeah,
But
Rhonda has her book event, and well, she just had it in New Orleans, but it's normally in the DMV normally,
it.
and hers is for Black History Month. So
Right. And
oh wow.
every year I'm like, ain't nobody coming to the event. And all of a sudden, you still got tickets? Wait, what?
people wait till the last minute,
Yeah, they do.
but for our vending spots, we always sell out months in advance, and so and we have normally have 120 roughly authors.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, and we've been doing it for 19 years. So well we're at 50% now, 55% sold, and it's March and the event's the end of October. So we normally
Oh
sell
wow.
out by June. And then we could sell like 200 if we had the space. I don't think I want to deal with 200 authors though. But
That's a lot of people.
but you normally after we sell out, we get tons of people. Well, I missed it. So what happens is when we open it up the next year, those people sign up like right away as soon as we open it up. Which we open it in
No,
January.
see, I don't deal with that many people. I keep my events very intimate. I
You
only
do.
deal with about 10. This year was the biggest with 14 authors. I only deal with about 10 to maybe 12 authors because
I get that.
I want to keep my authors small because and
Hmm.
I want to deal with the authors I want to deal with. So I usually do invite only for my authors for my events.
I
And then
understand that.
I concentrate on bringing the people because I want to make sure that the authors that I bring to my event that they get book sales. So after I get them taken care of and they're all registered, I focus on just promote, 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 promote. And that's why I'm always stressed out until my event is over with. Because I'm like, I gotta make sure these people they gotta sell some books because
That's me right now.
Man, don't even talk
That's me
about
right now.
stress. After our event, I collapse. I have to take a week off.
I
It's just
bet
totally exhausted.
120.
100 and it's always
Yeah, that's why I
120.
said I can't
It's
deal with it.
always
And I don't see how
120.
one does it. I don't want to deal with 120 authors.
That's
But
a
here's the
lot of
thing,
people.
and leading up to the event, I have to deal with all the, emails, paperwork, everything, organization, administration. So by the time of the event, I know everybody's name. And people are
Hmm.
surprised. They walk up, they'll give me their first name or their last name. I know the whole thing. Or
Yeah.
or they'll have a pen name and I'll know their pen name. Or I'll know the title of their book, or I'll know their email
Yeah.
address. They're always shocked that I know they are, but it's because I deal with all of their names for months.
But
Yeah.
Deanna,
Um,
we wish you all the best for your event.
yeah,
Thank you so much.
It sounds like it's going to be fabulous,
it
and
Thank you.
does.
I really wish Gwen knows that whenever people come on the show and they talk about their event, if I'm able, I usually come out. And I've popped up at people's bookstores. I've popped up at people's
Yeah.
events. If I were closer to Texas, I'd be there, but I'm in the DMV. So all I can do
Okay.
is give you all the best wishes in the world.
Thank you so much.
I'm happy for you. One of these days, I'm gonna have time to read a 700-page book, but I'm really gonna go for your novellas.
Yeah, just go for a novella. We got some that's 107. You good.
Yeah, I'm going for your novellas. I'm gonna read those, but I'm really happy for you.
Thank you
Congratulations.
guys.
I did put your website in the chat, and so I hope everybody will click the link and purchase your books and support you, and that
Thank
they
you
will
so
come
much.
to your event and that it will be amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, and congratulations on all the books you've done in such a short period of time. That's
Thank you
an
so
amazing
much.
accomplishment.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
I
Where
wish
can
you guys
people
the
reach
best on the
you, by
books
the
you
way?
guys are writing. Say it again. I'm sorry.
Where can people find you, by the way, besides your website? I mean, can people find you on social media?
Yes. Instagram is Pen by Z Renee. Facebook is Author Z Renee. TikTok is the same, Z Renee.
okay.
And Patreon is the same. Z Renee everywhere. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. The consistency, it allows people to be able to find you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just Z Renee.
Okay. Well, Z Renee, thank you so much for being a guest on the show.
Yes, thank you guys for having me. You guys have a good night.
You
You
too.
too.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye. Well, that's the end of the show for this week. We'll have another amazing show next Tuesday night, and we welcome you to come back for another amazing episode of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson signing off.
And I'm Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Have a wonderful evening and a great week. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in, and join us next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern for another edition of Black Authors Matter TV.